Coming up on the VO Life, all those things you hear about voiceover, and are they true, and is it a rumor, or are people just spreading crazy ideas around? We're going to dig into those right after this.
This episode is sponsored by VO Inbox, the only full-service marketing tool for established professional voice actors.
Hey, and welcome back to the VO Life, the podcast all about voiceover, voice acting, how to make it, how to fake it, and how to break it. But I'm hoping today I can help you dissect some things that you'll hear about. And I don't care if you're new or you've been doing this for a few years, there's a lot of BS that gets floated out there. And I had posted about this, and I said, hey, tell me some of the things that you hear or some of the things that you guys have run across. And I'm going to tell you the two big ones for me, and I'll get into them just a little bit. And one of them is it's a numbers game. Okay, and we'll talk about that first. And then the second one is you'll never book with that accent, or you'll never make six figures with that accent. And those are the first two I'm going to dig into, because those are the two that I believed for a long time, especially number one, that it's a numbers game. You audition for everything you can. Throw your crap in there. I don't care what it is. And on that one, I'm sorry, I call bullshit. And here's why. What I found, and I think what some other people will find, there are certain things you're not a fit for. I don't care if you have the perfect Gen Am voice, the perfect Midwestern voice, the perfect whatever voice. Even Southern, I run into this. Sometimes you're not a fit. Why? How do you determine that? How do you figure that out? I tell you how I figured it out, but it took a few years. It's in what you book. Do I ever book stuff that has to do with tech or the cloud or business to business? Hardly ever, unless it specifically says, strictly, sure, unless it specifically says, we're looking for a Texas-type voice or a Sam Elliott attitude or this voice or, a little touch of Southern. Not too much, not over the top, but a little touch of Southern. Okay, then I'll read for that. But if it doesn't say that and it falls in those categories, why would I do it? I have auditioned a lot on voices.com. And I got to tell you, it's sometimes when you look at these numbers, you go to your stats page and you go, really? Really? Yeah. I have submitted 7,441 times since I got on voices.com in December of 2020. So I've been on there 5 years. Now that's a lot of auditions in 5 years. If you break that down by the week or the day, somebody will say, well, it's not really as many as you think it is. But, when I look at that and I look at how many I auditioned for, how many auditions I received, how many times my demo's been listened to, et cetera, short list, let me just be honest and transparent. All right. Out of those 7,400, only 5,000 were listened to, 5,060 to be exact. That means over 2,400 times I wasted my time because they didn't give a crap to listen. Okay, maybe it was, especially early on, I was submitting too late, blah, blah, blah. But quite a bit of that was because I had a person tell me who I paid, who I was working with, that said audition for everything. It's a numbers game. It is a numbers game, but not that numbers game. And I want to talk you out of that. You are better off, in my opinion, to audition for what fits you and what you would typically book, and to put a little more time and effort into it and do a really good job at it. Instead of doing 50 auditions in one day and say, I did it, I did 50, and then the next day and the next day and the next day, and you're not seeing shortlist. And then it's like, well, why aren't they liking what I do? Because you have become an audition machine, not a voice actor. You need to be a voice actor. And out of those, all those auditions I submitted, I have a little over 700 shortlist, which is not a bad number, considering out of the 5,000 listened to. And I believe I'm somewhere around 110 jobs on there. Is it a big money maker for me? No. Do you spend a lot of time with it every day? No. First thing in the morning, I see what's out there, how many people have already auditioned, is it a fit for me? I narrow it down. I'll do those 2 or 3, usually, if there's that many, and I move on and forget it. I will typically book 2 to 4 times a month on there now, where before I only booked now and then, and I was auditioning my tail off, wasting all that time. Now I am very targeted and focused on what I audition for. And that's, sure, it's still a numbers game because I look at these numbers all the time. My average earning per job has almost doubled in the last year. My booking ratio is about the same when I look at the all-time booking ratio, but when I look at this year, it's terrible. And I don't really know why. It's like 96-1. This is May, and I've only been hired 6 times this year. That's an average of 1 a month. But I've been double busy in other things. I'm making way more than I made last year in the first few months of the year. So it's really odd. I mean, a lot of times you just don't know, right? But when I look at it, I don't waste a lot of time on this, because you can become depressed and you will become anxious in your auditions. So that's why I tell you my opinion. Other people, other coaches may tell you different. My opinion, what's worked for me, and that's what I always share, what's worked for me. Not as many auditions anymore. Very picky about which ones are they a fit. Would I typically book it? How many people are ahead of me? Is there a magic number for that? No. If that script is so you, and you know you nailed it, and there's already 80 people that have turned it in, I'll turn it in. But I will look at what the history of that person is in listening to their auditions. Do they typically listen to most of them? And I'll usually do it. The thing, too, on voices.com is I don't think, from everything that I know so far, it hurts you to take that chance and it not get listened to or not get favorited or not get liked or whatever. You know, I just don't think the shortlist thing means as much on there. Now, a couple of other things that are very surprising to me. I have almost 12,000 demo listens. So I think a lot of people do go on there and listen to your stuff, and I have been hired directly without an audition on there, I don't know, a dozen times maybe. And, I like that. I like the fact that happens. I wish it happened more. But the numbers thing, that's probably enough about that, because there's not really a heck of a lot else I can tell you about it from my perspective. I don't believe you should set a target of 50 just because. You know, for me, I would rather turn in 10 really good auditions between voices.com and Voice 123, and my Voice 123 time may be up pretty soon. If I don't book anything in the next couple of weeks, I'm not sure I'm going to keep staying there. I mean, my short lists are crazy there lately. Last week, I think I had like 8 or 9 short lists. I don't usually have that many, but I'm not, and I did book 2 jobs last week there, but I'm really hesitant to say that the ROI is there for me yet. Now, what I probably should do is go 3 more months on the higher paid program that I'm on now. and pay another quarter because I just hit the top 10% a few weeks ago, and now I'm starting to see more auditions sooner. So I'll probably have to reinvest one more time, which I believe that's what, $660 for the quarter, I think, whatever it is. I'll probably do that, and I'll probably, let that be my last test of it. But I'm doing pretty well without it. And I'm doing decent without voices.com. But the difference there is I have more repeat business there than I do on 123. I don't know. Everybody's different. A lot of people get a ton of repeat business, and I've got a huge base of customers I've pulled off 123, and that's fantastic. I want to do that, but my market's different. Everything's different for me, it seems like, and not just because of accent or whatever. It's just because of the type of reads that I do, the type of clients I run into, and such as that. All right, let's move on to the second one real quick, and I'm going to blow through this one quickly. You are never going to book a lot with that accent, I just don't think you'll ever make six figures. Somebody told me that early on. Has it been harder? Yes. Have I had some crazy decisions to make because of it? Yes. I had to embrace who I am, what I am, be me. Yes, I have taken classes to reduce some of the things that I would say, like get. Why don't you get on in here? If you talk to me in a standard conversation and we're out here at my barn and we're talking about horses or we're talking about grass and grass seed or farm equipment, I promise you, if you're a local, I'm probably way more country than I am doing this. And even when I do voiceover, because I think, in God's honest truth, it's a character for me. And I become that older farmer guy, and he just kind of, he's just really excited about that. And him grass seed, they're down to $50 this week. I didn't even know they'd ever get that cheap again. I'm going to get me some. But you're never going to hear me read like that. But in talking to certain people, I do that. It's a character thing. But let's put that myth to bed. I don't think that would ever be a drawback for me because of embracing it and making it work, and popping six figures has, it was going to be impossible the first couple of years, but no, it's not anymore. Not anymore. Will I ever be a big major player? Will it hold me down from some of that? Sure it will. But I can make a good living. I can make six figures. I'm proving it right now. I can do it. And, don't let some of those myths like that scare you away. You've got to get out there and test it and try it and see what works. All right, here's the next one that I believe. I was told this early on. You do not need to use a Gmail address for your business. You can't do that. You have to have it .u. TroyHoldenVoices.com, at TroyHoldenVoices.com, Troy at TroyHoldenVoices.com. And I went out and got that, paid for it. And I have it and I still use it. But let me tell you, I know some really big names that use Gmail. Big bookers, big hitters in the industry, they use Gmail. It's okay to do that. Just label the front of it, TroyHoldenVO at gmail.com. TroyHoldenVoices at gmail.com. TroyHolden at gmail.com. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter, because when you label that email address, what it puts in their inbox when they see it is what you label that email address as. So even on Gmail, which I use for all my marketing, I have TroyHoldenVO.com as a Gmail setup, and I also just have gmail.com for some things. But I have Troy at TroyHoldenVO.com. It's a Gmail thing. I also have, like I said, TroyHoldenVO at gmail.com. But when they receive the email, they all say Troy Holden Voices. That's what they'll see on their inbox. Until they click on it and go to it, they're not going to know what the email, where it comes from or where it originates. And I'm going to tell you, again, my opinion, I just don't think that matters. Oh, it makes you look more professional. Well, okay, if you really think that matters, go ahead, but you can't take that email and go out and market with it, because if something happens and you start spamming people, or you're having all of these returned emails, or things aren't working correctly, and somebody, whether it's Google, Outlook, whatever, they decide you're spamming, something's not right here, and they squash your email, and your blessed business email is now not functioning. They've taken it away. It happens. Believe me, I know. Even though the one I lost was not my main, but I had one taken away from me, and I petitioned and got it back. It took about 2 months. But, you don't want to use your main business email for your marketing, and it does not have to be named after you. It just doesn't, and that's my belief. There are good friends of mine who believe otherwise, and I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying I don't have an issue using Gmail the way I use it. All right. Next one is, right out of the chute, you got to have a demo, a website, and branding. I'm going to call BS on that one because, A, you don't need a website until you are marketable and trained. You don't need a demo until you are trained. And branding takes time. We all want to get branded. We need that logo. We need that tagline. No, you don't. And I'll tell you why. Go look up a lot of the people in the industry and see if they have it. And a lot of them, and I'm talking big hitters, they don't. They have a really nice, clean website. They have all their stuff where it should be. But you don't see a lot of hokey stuff of, I'm the twing twang voice of the South, or whatever, I'm the cool drink of water, or whatever. You don't see much of that. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying don't do it, but you don't have to do it. And, take your time with it. Should you be consistent on social media and website and whatever you do with signatures and fonts and colors? Yes. Set that up from the start and stick with it. But don't worry about logos and branding, and take it from somebody who goes through a lot of crap in their head all the time about it, who worries about it a lot, because I don't want to be painted in a corner. I have dropped in most places, and I hope I've got it cleaned up most places, the blue collar voice of choice logo, because too many people associate that with something that I'm really not. In my mind, the blue collar thing was I came from the background of working in manufacturing, and that gave me a blue collar background, a business guy. That's not the way people looked at that. And, then I had a thing in my mind about sounds like home, because I do believe as a storyteller VO, it is something that sounds like home, reminds people of home. But that's only for people around here. It's not going to resonate with somebody out in Oregon or Phoenix, Arizona. What do you mean sounds like home? He don't sound like he's from here. So I thought, man, that's not right either. So I went back and just used another thing I was told, you shouldn't use those caricatures. Well, it doesn't. I don't think that matters much either. A lot of people use them. But right down below that, you scroll down a little bit, and there I am. I mean, the real thing. But I like the caricature. I now have just like a set of headphones drawn on there with a cord going across, and my name, Troy Holden, voice actor. That's what they need to know. Who is he and what does he do? And that's it. So that's where I'm at with those things. Other people have different opinions or whatever. I'm just trying to save you some heartache and headache. Samples, yes, you will need samples, because eventually you're going to get on pay to play, etc. But just remember, it's all about the training. And when your coach says you're ready, then let's get a demo. Then let's put together a website, so when I market the demo, they have a website to go look at. And that's it. This ain't rocket science. Some of my favorite ones, though, we were talking about these in the group the other day. All you need is a microphone and spare time. Let me let that one sit here for a second. I don't know where that one came from, but I'm sure it was a marketing thing trying to get people to take a course. If you're new to this and you're just starting to listen to podcasts and stuff, and you may never even hear this, but I'm hoping that's some of the people I can reach. That's not the way to go. Don't get in one of these program things right from the chute, workshops, sit in as a spectator, hear how all this goes, and then think, do I really want to do this? Yeah, I do. Reach out to who held the workshop. Get a consult. Go through those steps and do it the right way. Learn the business. Learn the craft. Make sure you're ready. Anybody can go buy a mic, and anybody might have a little spare time. And, that's what causes a lot of trouble for you down the road, because you got to recover from how you started sometimes. I had to do that. I had to recover from how I started. Luckily, I was able to do it. It took me about 6 months from when I decided I'm going to do this, I'm going to stop doing this, I've got to do this. And it took a while, but gosh, I can remember the stupidity I had when I first started doing this and even trying to get some equipment and didn't even know what to get. It was a mess. And then I realized after listening to some other people that I needed to go to some coaching and workshops, and I did. I went to workshops immediately. I got in with my first coach. We did some samples. He coached me up, got me in pretty good shape. And granted, even with him telling me, you got a lot of natural ability, this is pretty easy for you. When I'm telling you to do this, you can do it. When I'm telling you to do that, you can do it. And a lot of people do have that natural ability to do that. But had I just said all I need is a microphone, spare time, and get a room settled in to where it's not reverby, no, doesn't work that way. There was another one somebody posted that said, once you train with me, the work will come. What? Who's going to give it to you? Unless you're taking the business side and you're training on marketing, but it was not one of our marketing coaches that we all love and know that said that. This was a different type of coach or a different type of program to do. Here's another one. Thank you, Paul Smith, for this one. You have to have agents. No, you do not. There's a lot of people doing a decent amount of work with no agent. Last year, here's a good example. I have agents. I have 3 reduced down from, I had more at one time, but I'm basically 3. And last year, I only booked a scratch read that somebody wanted. And it didn't pay a lot, $175 or something. And had it went on further, I would have been okay with it, but it didn't. And that was all I got last year from agents, but it was my best year since I started. And this year I have had 1 agent booking, and it was for an audio book. My first audio book could be my last. I don't know. If I could do more of that size and the way they did it, yes, I would do another one. But would I ever do big ones and I got to do the editing and all that? No, I would not. I mean, the only reason I did this one, it was a special circumstance. So that was my 1 agent job this year so far. This is middle of May. Will I get one this year? I don't know. I would love to have a few, but you do not have to have agents to have a good, steady income, a good bank of business. And if you are booking things that an agent would like to have, and you have a book of business, maybe with a certain handful of clients, that sometimes is good leverage if you really, really want one to use to go talk to one. Because if you're booking that kind of work repetitively, it's good commercial work. And even if it's regional, they may be interested in taking that off your hands and running it through them and putting you on the roster. You never know. There's a lot of ways. But that is not true. You don't have to have agents. We could probably go on and on and on, but I don't want to make this a big negative thing. We're just kind of looking a little bit at the serious of it and a little bit at the humorous side of it because, once you train with me, the work will just come. It will. It'll just come in and all you need is a mic and some spare time. But everything else we were talking pretty seriously. And those were seriously seen. They just are not seriously taken, I hope. Well, folks, I have ranted and raged a lot. I probably talked a whole lot more about the pay-to-play online casting, rather. I'm still having trouble saying online casting. And, those were the things that really, like I said, some of the things that bothered me the most out of the gate was the numbers game thing and you'll never book with that accent or you'll never make six figures. And, you have to look at all these things with a grain of salt. You have to apply it to you and your business. You have to decide, well, I'm going to have that email address with that on it. I want it to have myname.com. You can. That's okay. If you got a website set up, most of the services like that will give you that for, through your website thing. But you don't have to have that day one, and if you establish it as a smart address, like I said, with your name on the front of it, Bill Jones voiceover at gmail.com or Bill Jones voice or Bill Jones VO, you should be fine. And then what you can do later, if you get the other one and you start using a new one for business with the at yourname.com, then you can use that other one for your marketing one because it should be warmed up. You should have been using it, and it's accustomed to sending and getting emails. And but anyway, enough about all that. Good gracious. I hope everybody is having a wonderful late spring as we get in closer to summer. It's going to get hot. I have actually brought my mini air conditioner back into the booth here temporarily because I have not been able to find a way to pump cool air in with the door closed, constantly when I'm in here and it not have any noise. And even though I have a couple of Infinity inline fans that are whisper quiet, you have to vent those if they're pulling the air out of the booth, the warm air. You got to vent it out somewhere, and I'm building a panel to go in one of my sliding windows in this bedroom that will have a couple of ducts plugged into it that I can blow the air conditioning vent out, and I can also blow the inline fan out. And my next thing will be I would like to take that inline. I have a second inline fan, and I'd like to run that up to my ductwork up in my attic and let it pull in the AC and blow in through the box, the box that's got the insulation and everything, the dampeners on the booth, and see how that works. So, that'll probably end up being a podcast later on. But for now, you decide what games you want to play in VO. You can investigate all this stuff on your own, but I can tell you I have been through a lot of it. I have had to go through suffering and changes and recuperating and rebuilding, rebranding, refixing. And a lot of times you're thinking, I don't know who to believe. I'm hearing this over here and this over here, and I thought that person was really legit, and they're doing this, and this one's doing that, and let's just bring it right down to this. Just like your voice. You do you. You decide. It's your business. You decide. I'm just throwing stuff against the wall, and you decide what you want to do with it. All right? Hey, let's hear a final word from our friends over at VO Inbox and VO Leads. My good buddy Jonathan Grant. Jonathan, thank you for hanging with us on the VO Life. They just made a big announcement of some upgrades and servers and horsepower and all that good stuff. Congratulations to him on a really cool thing. Now, what I'm waiting for next is somebody to come up with an app that will quote proper rates And you just go down through there and choose, all right, they need digital, they need 6 months, and it's regional or it's national or whatever. Wow, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? Because I keep a notepad on my desk for that. And I keep GVAA up in the background all the time, every day. I'm always looking at it. And I can't wait to see the new update that they're having because, yes, all this stuff changes so fast. We just had a podcast about rates, but I'm telling you, this stuff changes. There's so much. It's so different. It's no longer just radio or TV or e-learning or whatever. And now I was listening today to Mark Scott and David Toback talk about it, and my gosh, go listen to that podcast, because when you start thinking about all the different ways we can deliver a voiceover, as Mark said, it's very exciting because there's lots of opportunities, but geez, is it confusing when we try to quote it. Wow. All right. Take it away, VO Inbox, and we'll see you soon.
And that's another episode of the VO Life. Thanks for dropping in and hanging on. The VO Life was brought to you by voinbox.com.
The marketing tool that gives you back something others don't. Make an investment in your marketing that not only cultivates clients, but gives you back time.
If you are a professional voice actor and you need to up your direct email marketing game, VO Inbox might be for you.
Reach out to Troy in an email to get 25 leads free with your paid subscription. Send that email to troy@troyholdenvoices.com.
Need to talk about building your VO business? You can schedule time with Troy on his website in half-hour or full-hour sessions. There's even a free 15-minute consult available, all on the website at troyholdenvoices.com.
Thanks for being here, and join us again next week on the VO Life.